Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We will be with you in just a moment here. Just a moment. We're doing a little check-in to make sure all the streams are up. We seem to be live on LinkedIn or YouTube. Let's check how the old LinkedIn is doing and seeing if that seems to be going well, ladies and gentlemen. That's good. And of course, the last one we like to check before we get the show rolling here is Twitter. I mean X. So give us just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We will be with you. We're gonna let the stream fill up here with some people. Got some good guests for you today. As always, in the background, I've got Pedro doing his thing, reading the charts, and then we have Zach Humphries today. So glad that he came on my show. I was on his show last week. We will get to that shortly. All right, I think we're ready to go. As I always say, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show started. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here on the DYOR Media Network. So glad to be hosting DYOR Live again this morning, September 5th, 2023. If you can believe it, it's September already. And every time I look at the date, I say this every time, I can't believe how fast the year's going by. The stores have Christmas up. They've got Thanksgiving up. I'm surprised they don't have Easter for next year up yet, but that's the way it's going. We got a good show for you today. I'm trying something new. We went back to using StreamYard to try and simplify things and keep the technical problems out of it. So I'm sure I'll have some procedural errors on this one today too. But we got some good guests for you. Like I said, we got Pedro, Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, coming to tell you how the week's going to be in BTC and the markets. And actually, as I always say, he likes to tell you what the charts are going to say about the week coming up. And I also got a nice guy by the name of Zach Humphries on the show, which we will get to just after our sponsor announcement. But I'm going to bring on Pedro here. This is a little different setup. Pedro, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Things are really well. I'm thankful. It's a busy day. It's a real busy day. I've got a lot of stuff going on, so I'm kind of excited.
Well, good. As they say, a lot of things never happen. They don't happen. And then when you just start to get a few nibbles on the old fishing line there, that's when the full school of fish comes in and you can't handle them all. But it's good to see you got things going on and stuff like that. What do you got going on the rest of this week outside of the usual crypto stuff?
Well, I'm hanging out with, I'm actually going to be on a show with, actually today, his name is Mario,
Narfall.
Yeah, Narfall. Yeah, Narfall. And I'm doing that today. So if y'all I'm gonna be talking about market sentiment and its movement in relationship to buyers and sellers, which many of our viewers here have heard me ad nauseum talk about the shorts yes. and the longs coming in and where we're sitting at. I mean, just this chart alone, I'm always saying, look, last week we went up, then we went down. So I bet I get people get very tiresome of me because I pretty much say the same thing because, well, the market kind of moves kind of slow right here. 60% of the time it goes sideways. So. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. What's going on? What's going on with the market here? Why is your chart not up there? Let's Let's bring the chart up there. Oh, I tried all these different things. Here we go.
Perfect.
There's the chart.
That is
There's
awesome.
the chart. What do we got going on? And as I like to tell everybody, Pedro's charts are most technical analysis people you see up there. They put up one style of chart. Pedro uses a little different with lots of wicks and lots of lines. I call it the John Wick of charts. But the most important thing is to listen to what Pedro talks about as for where the trading volumes, where the resistance levels are, support levels. But I'll let Pedro get to that.
Yes. And I also want to remember, let everybody know this is for educational and as well as entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. As always, please consult if you do decide to make decisions, whatever, that's on you. But the biggest issue is this: if you do, make sure you talk to your tax professional in relationship to all the stuff you need to do with that. Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
With that statement, let's go ahead and move forward here. So right now, you can see here Bitcoin, like I talked about yesterday or last week, right? If we decide to go up for the week, right, over the weekend, then I said that most likely we would be going down for the week, right? So now you guys can sit here and see on a daily chart. I don't want to bring this up because normally I jump with the higher time frames, but this is a good example of what happened. So this was Saturday, or this was Friday. We went out, we put a bit of a wick where we bounced off of that demand zone that I've been talking about here around the 25, 23 area. But the biggest thing that I said last week when we had all that news that the volume here on this level here wasn't anything substantial. And so I said we will most likely see it turn out and come back down and retap that 25, 23,000 area that I brought up. And as you guys can see, we're seeing this now continue down. We went up for the weekend. So Saturday we went up, Sunday we went up. And now Monday, and the week starts on Sunday for crypto, right? That's actually traditional markets as well for futures. So we go up, then now we're starting to go down. So you can see here that there's not much below us. So that 24, 23,000 area, I definitely see is coming down here primarily because of what, my volume's not up there. Give me 1 second. There we are. So you can see here with the volume,
not much volume going on there.
Right. But the key is to pay attention is that we're starting to see an increase of sellers step in as you see the volume start to go up. So we had decreasing on Saturday and Sunday. And granted, I understand it's the weekend, but crypto traders, they trade. It doesn't matter, right? That's really a big difference where you don't have these huge hedge funds. You really see more or less the novices trade, and they kind of got killed. So you see here now the drop in these levels here, that 24, 23 area is still sitting here. And so I do see it is coming back and retapping this, tap, tap, tap-a-roo, right here. And then
just tap it in. Just tap it in.
Tap it. I did wrong, Bob. So us old guys. So now you're starting to see here that we're starting to come back down. Now let's now jump into more of the macro sense of what we're seeing in the market. The new chart here for the month, we are going down, but we first went up. And now here's the thing. I don't think that this is going to be the seller wick, that support or the resistant wick. I think we'll probably come down, get buyers and at these levels, and towards mid-month push back up, tap this monthly moving average at that 26,000 area, 26.6 area, and then if not maybe the 26.9 area, and then see a sell off again down to the lower levels that I've been talking about at that 23, and then down into this 20,000 mark as we come towards the end of September. And the reason why is because I don't think we're going to see a Santa Claus rally, primarily because of the macro technical side of I don't know what to call it. Like the macro big picture of the technical analysis side. And plus, obviously, the fundamental side, there's things that are not going good. There's the recession that they've been talking about. So.
The markets are so good right now. They build everything in really early. And people monitor those supply chains coming out of China now. You know, because the stuff for Christmas is already on the boats coming over from China now. Only the last minute stuff comes by air freight. So they've got that built in. So the Santa Claus effect is not so easy to predict anymore.
Yeah. it's one of those things I find myself like, my teacher, my guru that I talked to, who taught me really how to trade. If you ever want to go look at him, he's always on YouTube or Twitter. He doesn't look for students. I told you all, if you reach out to him and he doesn't like you, you just be like, sorry, dude, I don't like you. Peace, I'm done. He doesn't make money off of teaching. It actually takes money away from him. But he feels like he needs to get back. But one of the things he always says is that the Santa Claus rally is literally one of those things that it's a self-predicting. If it starts, right, and it starts to go, then it starts to push. But if nobody is the first initial time to push it, like if there isn't an initial to it, it's most likely not going to happen. And he's really into fundamentals as well.
All right, Pedro, we have to.
Yeah.
We have to. Let's give it, when people tune in on the wrap up show on either Thursday or Friday, where they get to see the markets at. Is it still going to do that little consolidating there for the week before you see it pushing down later in September?
Yeah, so honestly, because of what we've seen here on that daily chart already with the increase of volume stepping in, and even though it's a little, but it's the start of the week, I do think I think we'll bust out on this consolidation area and come down first before we see it go up. So personally, I think that we'll see a drop down into this 23,000 area probably this week. I do think that because we're already starting the push, and now it's starting to it's I think because we're seeing the increase in volume coming in right here. We'll see it continue down into the first part of September. September and October typically have been notorious for bad months in the market. So I think they're kind of starting that off. So I'm not 100% sure, like I always say. Again, this is educational purposes only. But it's one of those things that, I see we're already moving forward here with the starting to increase in volume. So I do see it's potentially coming down.
All right, Pedro, we got to hurry things up a little bit here. We're running a little late. So thank you very much for that. Pedro's going to hang out as long as he can. He has an appointment on the Mario and Awful show. So if you're interested in that, follow him over there after that. If you follow Mario and Awful, you'll know how to find him. I don't have to give you a link for that. Anyway,
Also,
over my...
wait,
go ahead.
You're breaking up right now really bad. It's almost like like are you doing? I can barely hear. So I don't know why that is. It's the
check 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Perfect. You're awesome.
All right, thanks, Zach. We got Zach Humphries in the background here. I can see him.
Yeah, bring him in.
My audio was so
I want to I want to talk a little BS with him, just a little, for the next few minutes, and then I'll bounce out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. Zach Humphries. Oops, I got you in the wrong window there. Let's fix that. I got you on the little TV over there.
That's cool.
Let me fix that for you here. Hey, Zach, how you doing?
What's up, man? Morning. How we doing?
Good. Welcome to DYOR Live. Thanks for coming on my show. I appreciate it. As I said before, thank you for having me on your show last week, and of course stopping by the Futurist Conference, where you were at the conference to watch the unveiling finally of Shibarium and all that. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But as I like to say, creators help each other out. And I got a nice little small show, and Zach's got a nice large one, trying to get larger. And if he can add my 3 viewers to his list also, it'll make things just all the better. But anyway, thank you. How's it going, Zach?
It's going great, man. Yeah, and I got to tell you, just getting some feedback from people last week. They loved your perspective too, so we'll definitely do it again. And added a lot there. I forget what day it was. All these days run together because crypto never sleep. But yeah, man, it was fun, and thanks for having me on today. And Pedro, enjoyed listening to the breakdown there on the charts too, man.
Good stuff, man. Actually, I wanted to do a little bit on Shib, but it's just my timing. I'm a little long-winded, so it's just like, man. I hear you. You're like, yeah, Pedro, you talk too much.
No, you're good, man. No, I like it, man. And like Tom, like you said, man, it's all the lines and stuff make me go crazy, but we need people to do it. We need people to give us the breakdown and get us some good entry points in this bear market.
Yep, that's true. And Pedro, if you listen to him talk, he doesn't let emotion get into it. He just looks at the charts, and we have all these people on YouTube saying, it's going to BTC's going to 100,000, all this kind of stuff. But he looks at the charts and say, well, that's not what the charts say. And outside fundamental issues, the charts usually tell everyone what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I tend to listen to them. I don't trade by them because I don't trade day to day in the market, but I should be.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm more of a swing trader. I have an indicator now, and because I'm not a great analyst myself, I had it built by the professionals and wanted to make it, stupid, easy, simple for me and people like me out there who want to make some plays in the market. And yeah, I'm not sitting there every day, every hour on the hour, but every few weeks or so, we get volatility, we get volume coming in. There could be some opportunities, catalysts, different things. We saw I call it kind of like that most recent fake pump on the ETF news, and then it almost felt like market manipulation because then they kind of dialed it back and they kicked the can down the road for the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF. 45 days, we're gonna have to wait 45 days longer, and then we just gave everything back that we gained there. But
well,
yeah, go ahead.
I want to throw this out because it's really important. And when that happened, and I saw the volume coming in, everybody was saying, "Okay, to the moon,
Right.
Alice," right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Where's the volume? Like, where's the legit volume?" And I always bring this up because there's this segment of what is it called? And I talk about this, I mean, ad nauseum, as in a real sense, that when, what's his name? The guy, bye, Kramer's sister.
Kramer.
Have you seen that video of his, back in 2006, of his market manipulation talk with the insiders?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Well, I probably haven't, just tuned it out.
I brought it up here a couple times where basically he talks about literally if you want to push the markets up because you need to fade the market, you call up CNN, all the those promoters he literally calls them promoters or a couple friends of his, right? And then they leak out a news source. And he says they say good news in the pre-market to push it up. They bring in the buyers. Because remember, for every market buy, you need a market seller or a shorter. You need somebody to take the other side. And so he just basically says, yeah, well, if we're trying to fade the market into earnings and then push it back up, we'll just tell them to say bad news on RIM. This was back, 2006. But it was one of those moments that he just says, he goes, well, you're not allowed to say it, but I'm going to say it because, I'm me and I work at Goldman Sachs and I'm a boss. And plus, this is between me and you. This isn't going to go anywhere. And lo and behold, it gets leaked back in 2008, late 2008, 9. But it's still the same thing. He may not be phenomenal. He may not be a mark or a manager at Goldman Sachs anymore. But the game still hasn't changed. And you can see right here on the chart, literally Bitcoin volume. You see these huge sell-off volume, you would think that at this push, you would at least have this amount, if not much higher. You're right. We should have seen this at least come up and blow through all these moving average, which are large institutional movements here. So from here, that market manipulation is real, and they do it every single day, all day long.
Yep. Well, what's Shib got in store in the charts there, Pedro?
Yeah, it's not just Shibity Shib. So. Back here, so back when I was doing my show and everything like that, before I had some crazy rude people, I don't know.
Good morning, Carmen.
Hey, Carmen.
What's up, Carmen?
And but before I was doing my show, and then I had like a dude talk about the stuff. I just I don't want to deal with people. And I don't know how you guys deal with it because people just say crazy stuff just because they want to be rude. But I was talking about how the market back here, we were up in these levels here. And I said, made it very clear. I said, we are most likely going to come back down into these lower levels here into the 0.068 level. And I have this marked here. And when we went through it right here with no real volume pushing up here, and I've talked about this now a couple times, this is all fake rally. This is a giant fake rally again. Again, look at the volume as we see here. The only day you really see is at the peak here, right? And this is an exhaustion candle right? Of them basically trying to bring in the buyers in hopes to, trick them. And so you see the fade down at this level here, okay? And then they push it up for the last hurrah to bring in the, because they screw over these buyers, right? Because they basically go to break even, and they're like, oh, forget it. And then they sell off their, and then the institutions come in and buy it. They push it back up to take out the shorts here, because there's a bunch of stops here. So they stop them out, but they hit the higher time frame, SMA, which is right here, which was sitting around right here at the time. And you see, man, we tap it, tap a room, and then we see a sell-off with a big, huge supply wick, hence then continuing down. So for me, when I look at the markets, I really see us more or less one of those things that it's getting ready to sell off. Look, we have an increase in selling volume here, hence with a seller wick communicating to me coming into resistance, which is a supply zone here. So it's screaming to me that Shib is continuing down into these lower levels of 5.9, 5.6, because right here you have the low. If they can get underneath this low here, there are so many stops here, so many stops that they're going to trigger here, where they will be able to load up, regulators.
Regulators.
Sorry. But that's literally what's going to happen is they're going to push that down into these lower levels here, and then hence make this thing after they stop everybody else out. They're going to load up and then push it back up. Most likely, that's going to be around about, let's have to say 3 months. I think it's probably about 3 months, because you'll have another 3 months, 6 months before we get into the halving, which that halving then will push a ton of buyers coming in, and you'll see the same craziness that we saw on the last bull market. So it's just something that it's that cyclical movement that we see. And since Shib is a top 15 coin, right, it will be on the institutional cyclical rotation of their money, right? So just like they do with institutional real stocks and bonds, and it's cyclical, we're going to see that here in the overall crypto market at large. And so we'll see the money coming in, money coming out. So it's one of those things to be paying attention to.
So the overall summary is that it's going to go down. It's going to go down, then it's going to go up.
Exactly.
So what you're saying, there's a level down there in which there's a lot of stops and people are waiting. Yes. That's their load up zone. You're not the only one that reads the charts. 1 million people do. And so they're seeing the same thing. They put in their stops. Let's let it come down here and let's let it go. But Zach, I'd like to hear how that interpretation of what's going on may different from when you listen to your community and where they think the price is going to change.
Well, I agree with almost everything that Pedro mentioned there, and it's interesting to hear his perspective coming from the technical side. I look at a lot of stuff on chain, and he's exactly right. A lot of the largest Shib holders, a lot of their holdings are around that 506, 5055. In fact, if you go back to 2021, I call it the dog days of summer back in 2021, before Shib had its blow off top, we consolidated at that 506 level for a really long time. So I agree with Pedro too. Right now, we don't have a lot of new money, is what I call it, coming into crypto. A lot of the money that we're seeing and the fluctuations in the market that we're seeing is old money. It's the same money just being recycled, repurposed, resurfaced in Bitcoin one day, out into an altcoin the other day. We'll play this catalyst over here. Oh, HBAR is going to do something with Fed now. Okay, we'll pump over here 15%. Shibarium's coming out. Oh, we'll pump 15%, and then we'll move it back over here. We don't have that new influx of money just yet into crypto, the retail money, right? I mean, that's what we're missing. And we even see it. I mean, I know I do, just, putting out YouTube videos. I know that same video I made today in 2021 would 10x in views, right? Just because there was more retail money, there were more people on YouTube, there was more interest. If you look at Google search history and all that sort of stuff, same thing, right? So, but yeah, man, I think it's fascinating, because Shib obviously started as just a joke meme coin, and now they really are trying to add utility with their own L2. They're getting into the gaming side of things, which I think is big. It's going to be a huge sector, in my opinion. And they're also getting into the metaverse, which, what is the metaverse? Everybody's got a different definition. It's going to be something. and I think they have an opportunity there to do something really big, given how big their community is. They're the largest crypto by market cap building out a metaverse, so they've got a pretty nice head start there in that area.
Yeah.
Well, the metaverse is tough and expensive. That's a tough one.
It is. And I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I really don't. I mean, we had the whole Facebook thing change their name, and that looks like a flop, right? But maybe it isn't. I mean, time will tell. I think it's still really early. I kind of look at metaverse as I did like gaming in this back end of the last cycle. Things kind of spiked. We saw Gala Games go crazy toward the tail end there of the last cycle. We saw some metaverse, jargon and some metaverse plays. Even I know Decentraland had a nice little run there. Sandbox. What it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's just still so early, and the taste we have in our mouth right now is sour because of just the last few years here. But I don't know. I don't know. What it actually ends up being, but I think there's something there because really, in my mind, it's just moving us more into the digital world, and I know that's not going to stop. We're going to get more digital, and we're going to get more. It's going to get more invasive, and it's so whatever that looks like.
Well,
yeah, we'll see.
I guess the best way to say is that very, very rarely is the first one to the party the one that succeeds. I mean, we all know that Uber managed to be the unicorn that did that, but in social media, it certainly wasn't Facebook being first at anything. We all had MySpace, and us older people had things called Friendster and stuff like that. And none of those worked out well. And Facebook dumped billions of dollars into the metaverse, unsucceeding in a bureaucratic organization, and probably Shib and other smaller companies that have the wealth and the resources to do it, but are nimble and can make changes on the fly without having to go through 70 levels of meetings and corporate policy things.
Really good point.
It'll work out a lot better. I mean, we've all seen what corporate meetings do to innovation.
Yeah. Slow it down.
Pit Monk, thank you for commenting. Says hello, Tom. Nice to see Zach here too.
I should want to go real quick. I do got to get going, guys, but I wanted to say something about that because I think you guys are talking about something that's when it comes down to the retail traders, right? Retail traders are fodder for the institution, and so one of the things before things start, I hate to say, but that's the reality, and people don't want to hear that.
Yep.
But hey, that's what it is.
Yep.
It's the kindling so that they can start that fire, and so when we start to see the market overall, Bitcoin get to lows where everybody and this is what what's his name says, Warren Buffett says, when I see everybody running away and blood in the streets, i.e. selling, then we should see him and the institution step in. And so when they can get these type of movements coming in where they see huge sell-offs, okay, that's when the institutions step in and say, this is a good deal. We're going to buy this. This is when Warren Buffett, even though he's not in, i.e. air quotes, into crypto, even though the man has bought 3 major companies that specifically sell out and deal with Bitcoin. But that's besides the point. I'm not going to go there. But that reality, though, is when they see this sell off and they see a good price, doesn't matter what it is, they buy it because they're value investors. And that's where I sit there and see that the retail trader, the small trader, is fodder, and to pay attention to that. That's real important.
That's good stuff.
Let me let you guys
thank
go.
you, Pedro.
I gotta get out of here. Yes. All right, guys.
All right, Pedro. Thanks for joining us here today, giving us your viewpoint. As always, I'll see you tomorrow for our show with Miss Caitlin Long.
Fun. Talk to you soon,
As
brother.
they say, the same bat channel.
Same bad place. I love it, dude. Yes. All right, dude. Bye.
All right, Zach. I'm gonna do my thing real quick here, ladies and gentlemen. If you've that's the wrong one. See, I'm still getting the dynamic camera thing right with StreamYard. Over my left shoulder here, I've got my my sponsor Auditchain. Auditchain is kind of revolutionizing the world of financial reporting and insurance, and is able to go into SEC filings for any company since 2009 and run them in 5 minutes and tell you where the big four auditors went wrong, missed information, made calculation errors, didn't include disclosures, or maybe trying to trick the system, as they say. And as I always do, as an example for that, let me tell you all about it.
Most of you know that crypto exchanges have been taking a beating about transparency, and many groups out there are trying to solve that. But Auditchain has already done that. Auditchain's protocols and network of validators can mathematically prove that a company's entire financial state, not just proof of reserves, but a proof of state, and whether or not that company is providing accurate reporting and information to the respective government regulators and to the public. Seriously, you and I can check crypto companies and traditional companies' financial reports for transparency and accuracy using a logic and reasoning engine called Pacioli that records its output where? On the blockchain. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, blockchain technology is now able to be used to check on traditional companies. Behind me is a list of companies that comprise the S&P 500, S&P 100. In essence, the largest US companies by size. More than one quarter, 29 out of 100, have problems with their reports. Remember, accounting and other corporate systems are garbage in and garbage out. So if there are problems with the data out for these companies, in red here, what does that mean? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There are problems with the data going in. And this was figured out not by accounting or auditing firms and fleets of consultants. This was compiled and reported on by Auditchain's Pacioli validating nodes and took only 5 minutes. It's revolutionary and it's a disruptor technology. Auditchain.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to my little spiel about my sponsor, Auditchain. Good things coming for them. They're getting ready to launch with their first customers right about now, and they've refined their user interface, so it's just like Google. There's a line, you type a company name in, all its SEC filings come up, and not only that, but it looks like they're going to be paying you to run all of the filings in order to get all of those in the system. Let's see, there's 11,000 public companies, 13 years of them, and four major filings each year, so that's a lot of filings. And once they create that database, it's going to be a name and shame game in order for the regulators to be able to go through and see who is not filing correctly. I don't know why the government can't do this already, but they can't. They needed a Web3 startup to do that. Anyway, this is the part of the show where usually I introduce my guest and have them come on, and I talk them up to get everybody all boosted up for the guest, but my guest was already on earlier. And so I'll just say that what I'd like to do in this show, I always, as I tell everybody, DYOR Media Network was set up in order to teach people about things. And not just to pontificate up here like I do a lot, or BS back and forth that Pedro and I do a lot, but to teach people, especially newer people, about what is going on in crypto in these digital world. As we know, the adoption rate of crypto is still fairly low. And all those new people coming in, we don't want them to learn all the lessons that we did the hard way. We just don't want that. We don't want them getting rug pulled and honeypotted and investing in projects with lousy management or no named developers and that type of stuff, except Shib. And we want to get the word out. And not only that, but I use it as a learning experience for me. By doing this show, I've learned far more quickly than I could have just doing things on my own. And I do that, one of the ways I do that is by having good guests on. And I met our following guest online, and we've through a couple of common programs and common people we know. We generally maybe had exchanged a tweet or knew of each other. But I was at the Futurist Conference in Toronto, and thank you to Untraceable for giving me a press pass to that. But so a guy walked by, and I was like, "Hey, I know that guy." And it was Zach Hines. That was one of my fraternity brothers, Zach Humphries. Zach Humphries walks by, and I grabbed him. I'm like, "Zach," and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, we think we know each other." Anyway, I had a nice studio set up. We did a nice, good interview talking about the show and everything about Shibarium. launch coming up, and it was a good thing. And so we got to know each other and learning. And as I always say, I have not been a Shibarium follower, but it's a beast in the market, and I needed to follow them, and I needed to know more about it. And Zach got me up to date on it. And so we said, let's be on each other's shows. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Zach Humphries. Zach, welcome to DYOR Live. I appreciate
What's up,
you being
man?
on.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me, and appreciate you tracking me down at the conference too. It was a fun one, man. You had a great spot too, right there, center stage, and enjoyed it, man. And so looking forward to keeping this thing going, and definitely coming back on my channel if you want to at some point and talking shop.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, so earlier we spoke about with Pedro where the idea was that that Shib was going, and one of the questions that I had that it didn't get answered then was your community. Everything what we do as creators here is based on a community. You've done a great job building it over time. And how has the community, and I didn't ask it earlier because this is a longer ask, how has the community evolved with you with Shib? You started in 2021 or so?
Yeah. Now, you mean the community within Shib or just the community on YouTube?
Oh, I'm sorry. In your channel,
Yeah.
How have they evolved with you with Shib there to go? And is it a practical community where they understand the market? Or did you have to fight off the Moon Boys for a long time?
It's not a one or the other type. I think there's probably a good mix. But I started making content on crypto in May of 2021, and the first video I put out was on Shiba Inu. And I went to bed, and I remember waking up. I put a video out like at 10 o'clock that night. Went to bed, woke up, there was 3,000 views on it. And I'm like, okay, there's something here, right?
Right.
Yeah, because I had 45 subscribers when I went to bed, and now I've got 400. And I was like, okay. And let's see what happened here. And I think the one thing people enjoyed, or I guess I hope they liked from me from the get-go, is A, I wasn't a moon boy. B, I didn't pretend like I had it all figured out. And I was very, very real. Like and my show's always been just kind of raw. Like I don't edit stuff. And I'm not saying that's like the wrong way to go about it. Like your stuff is unbelievable. Like this whole setup right here, like unbelievable. I'm like more like, let me just talk to you like I'm talking to you in the coffee shop. And I think either one could work. And I think people gravitated toward that a little bit. And the thing is, as I was learning, man, I was just speaking to my audience, like, hey guys, I learned this, I learned that, I learned this, and if I didn't know, I didn't know, and hey, I figured something else out. Hey,
that's real important, admitting that and being honest. Like,
and now 3 years in, I mean, and I still don't go on there and say I know everything there is to know about TA, because I don't, right? But I mean, here's what I have figured out, or here's what somebody really smart told me that I could share with you, and you still get that value, right? So that's really where I try to come at it from. And, I look at myself similarly to you, and people don't have time to keep up to speed with all the goings on in crypto and all the news. So if I could do that for them in a 4 or 5 minute video, if I can go on a live stream and entertain people and give them some news and information along the way, I love to do it. And so, why not? Right. I mean, it's something I've always done. I'm not good at math or science, man. I'm good at, talking a little bit and writing and all that kind of stuff. So what is that? Left brain, right brain?
Well, I think the trick is also to have that smooth voice you do. It wins people over like it's General Hospital in the middle of the day.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just, I was a broadcaster forever, and it's just, found my place on YouTube, man. It's funny. I wish I would have found it earlier. You look up and you're like, man,
me too. Yeah.
Right here. Like it was right here all along. Like, but no, we're here now, man.
Could have started this in 2016 before that. The major 2017 pump and gone through that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I look a lot of these channels, and they're like, whoa, we have 500,000, a million viewers, and I'm like, it's crap. And I'm like, it's just awful. And then I look at their history, and I'm like, oh, they've been around since 2014.
Yep.
And been through 2 major pumps. So like, as you mentioned, you're like, well, stick with your channel, and then when the bull run comes, it just everything goes up like crazy.
Yeah, you'll scale like crazy. And I think the hardest thing is doing content right now. You know, it's the boring times in the market. It's tough. I mean, there's
Yep.
days where, I mean, you know, the viewer, you could just check out for a week, right? And I don't blame you sometimes. You could just check out for a week. Like, there's a lot of crap going on right now that I don't want to listen to it for a week. I get it. But you know, people like us, we've got to be in it every day. And you know, and just at least, you know, keep people informed who want to get the information.
All right. Well, that's a good, but one of the things that people always want to hear about, and of course I'd like to hear about it too. As I said, I use this as a learning experience. Shibarium launched. It got, you know, at first people thought there were problems, so it was just totally being overwhelmed with people trying to use it, and Shib went like this because of confidence, and everyone said no, it was actually too good, so it came back up. And now projects are starting to move over onto on Shibarium. And what is going on with Shibarium? What's the development and volume like over there? Are there real projects over there, or just kind of the Moon Boy stuff?
There's been a little bit of both, and I think Shaitoshi, their lead developer, who of course is anonymous, basically said out front, "Hey, DYOR," because there are going to be projects that, you know, are looking to just do that, just Moon. And then there's going to be projects that are adding real utility, like, you know, Perpetual Dex, I know, is one of them. I won't list the name. There's a couple of those actually out there building.
Right.
And, but, you know, right now you've got over 1 million transactions already. You've got over 1.1 million addresses already, and daily transactions. Yeah. And daily transactions, since we'll call it kind of relaunched, you know, since after day one, you know, they had all that scalability trouble. We're running about 125,000 daily transactions right now as well. So it's pretty good. I mean, I think for a new blockchain, and for, you know, I mean, just the type of market we're in, obviously you got to factor that in. So I think so far so good. You know, there's been a lot of wouldn't call it uproar, but people concerned about the burns. You know, it's interesting, you know, Tom, when you're dealing with 1.3 million people, you're never going to make everybody happy. You know, like,
no,
these 100,000 people over here want this, and then these 100,000 people love that, but then their counterparts hate that. And there's always a lot of that tug and war kind of going on. But all in all, I think the community is still really strong, and they still see kind of the benefit of what they're trying to build here with Shibarium. And obviously, you know, I think the gaming side, and admittedly, I don't talk about this enough. You know, I met their head of gaming. I don't know if you know, William Volk was out there at the conference we were at. He's coming over from Activision, has 20 plus years of experience in the real world of gaming. Yeah, big time guy. And I had a chance to sit down with him and chat with him on my live stream. Super knowledgeable. And I mean, he's making a big shift in his career. You know, he's an older guy who's been in, we'll call it, traditional gaming for decades. And now he's coming into the Web3 side of it. So the potential there, I think, is huge in terms of bringing people into the ecosystem. You look at how many people are in gaming without crypto. I mean, you want to talk about an opportunity to bring people into crypto seamlessly. I think gaming is like a huge opportunity.
Absolutely.
You know,
gaming's massive, and so many people don't understand that, especially people. I mean, I'll just say I'm a little bit older than you. I'll just lay it out there. But people in my age group, they think like the largest thing ever in the world is the NFL. They're like, the football is the biggest thing ever. You know, baseball's pretty big too. And e-gaming and e-sports dwarfs all of live professional sports in total revenues by like a factor of 10 or some massive amount that I can't even, I won't get it right if I try to guess. But it's when you see the money that Microsoft paid for Activision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you realize, like, when you say, well, that baseball team looks like it's going to sell for $2 billion. Wow, that's amazing. It's a blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, we're going to dump $20 billion on this gaming company or something like that. And you're like,
yeah,
wait, they must have something here, you know? And you're right, that nexus of bringing it into crypto, or, you know, maybe like the things people say a lot, you know, now we talk blockchain and we talk, you know, crypto and all this type of stuff. But in a few years, people won't talk about that. They'll just be back to talking gaming and money, and blockchain and crypto is the underpinnings of it. Like I say, People were driving a highway. Eventually, they don't care whether it's concrete or asphalt. They just know it's a A to B, and they're going. They're on that road going there.
Correct, man. And I think, we talk about use case with NFTs and stuff too, right? I mean, I think that's a huge use case with NFTs is the use of NFTs in gaming. I know there's a little project out there called WagMe, and they're building something like that right now. I've worked with them in the past, but there's a ton of those projects out there that can utilize NFTs and are. And I think Shib hopefully will do that too with their NFT line, and we'll see. But yeah, man, it's interesting. It's a crazy ecosystem. It's there's so many great projects out there, Tom, that have all this great utility, but they don't have a community. You can have this unbelievable thing that fills this big gap, right? That solves all these problems. But if you don't have people interested and engaged and excited about that, then all you have is this cool thing that does something, but nobody cares. And it's unfortunate. It really is. Whereas Shib kind of reverse engineered the process a little bit. They built, this crazy, rabid community built on nothing. And now, okay, let's go do something. It's pretty interesting.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Think of all the people that have spent all their money developing the greatest mousetrap ever. And then they, Walmart calls back and says, you sold 10 of them.
Right.
10 million of them? No, 10.
Right. But this is the best mousetrap ever. It does all these things. Yeah, but people don't care.
Yep, no, I agree with that. And that's amazing that Shib did that. And when you look at the historical price of Shib all the way back to the beginning, and it started as a meme and went like this, and then went almost to absolute zero. I mean, it went when you look at the over thing, it went to 0.001 after going up to a bazillion. And you're like, that project was dead, and the community was like, we'll hang in here a little bit more. And then they pulled off the marketing coup of all time by sending all those tokens to
Vitalik.
What's his name? Vitalik.
Yeah.
And it got it in the news cycle, and the community said, "Yes, we're back." And it quadrupled the community, or quintupled, or dodecahedron did, or something like that. Yeah. And then you saw the rocket ship just go.
Yeah.
And that's as they say, I wish I was in that then.
In the early days too, they also did something that I thought was pretty smart. In addition to the Vitalik Buterin thing, was they had the moniker the Dogecoin killer, and so they played on this whole idea of Dogecoin. But you know what? For as many people who made it with Dogecoin, there were way more people who didn't make it, who were late to the party.
Right?
No worries, we've got you covered. This is the next one. So I thought that was brilliant too, and it worked.
Well, think of all the projects you've been in where you're like, I know this is going to work. I know it is. And then it just goes.
Right.
Anyway, what's working? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Another just note, because you were asking kind of about Shibarium, so I wanted to mention this too. It was interesting that I don't know if you caught this. So when they were running through their scaling issues, their lead devs over at Shib actually contacted Sandeep Nawal, co-founder of Polygon, to ask for their help, and they actually helped. They helped out quite a bit, and that's interesting because they have a working relationship, Polygon devs and Shib devs, going back toward COVID, and they actually.
Oh, that's interesting.
They had a huge India relief fund because the founders of Polygon, mostly from India, and they dealt with a lot of issues with COVID, given how big their population is, how concentrated their cities are, and things like that. And Shib actually helped out. Well, I guess it was Vitalik helped out because Shib helped Vitalik, and Vitalik sent some of his Shib. Yeah, you see what I'm. Yeah, and then so they had this little relationship going on, and they recently helped out Shib with their scaling issues. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it adds a little bit more validity, I think, to what Shib's trying to do now. The fact that Polygon's like, hey, yeah, like it's worth it for us to help you out. Like you're one of the big boys now. Like you're one of the top 20 cryptos, one of the one of the L2s out here. So I thought that was interesting too.
Just quickly, Pitmonk says, it won't be long before we can harvest resources in a game, sell it in the market, and then order a real pizza to be delivered to your home. You're right. It won't be. In fact, certain things you can. You can
Well, the
do
company,
that now.
the company that you could do with the real pizza delivered to your home is DYOR. They're doing that right now. They're revolutionizing the restaurant industry for the blockchain. Super interesting. They're building the DoorDash or the Uber Eats for Web3 and gaming.
Oh man, imagine being up at 2 a.m. gaming. You might be a little had a few things to stimulate you or something like that, and then you earn some, whatever game you're in, you earn some wealth for some reason, and you can extract that from the game and order a pizza. I mean, that's
cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Right. You go in, you open the treasure chest in the game, or you shoot the guy in the first person, and basically you steal his wallet, and in his wallet is $50.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, I need a pizza, and then you can transfer that nexus. When that completely happens, I guess Microsoft would have to. Oh.
And I think that's a use case probably for the metaverse and gaming. I think that's really where the metaverse kind of comes into the fold.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's gonna be crazy, man. I mean, the future of gaming and how invasive it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be. Is it gonna be better than real life? I mean, what's gonna be real life anymore? I don't know.
Or even I've stayed. I've kind of, maybe you can see from this studio thing that I do, I have an obsessive little quality to me that I get too involved in things. And a long time ago, when I was my original kind of gaming stuff on Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, all those things, I was the master at wrestling and at golf and all those things online. And then I had to take a break. I said, this is taking up too much of my life. And I took a break, and I didn't really pay attention to it until I sort of did, but I didn't play much until my son got his first Wii, and then he got his Xbox. And then when I started into the first person shooters, I was like, this is addictive, and this is going to be big. And it was, and gladly I didn't spend much time on it. So if you were to play Call of Duty with me, you could sneak up behind me and just knife me in the head. You know, that's my son would do that routinely and that type of stuff. But you know, that as we saw the evolution of it go from, you know, one to the other, and from simple things like trying to replicate a golf course in Florida, badly, to now being able to play for money and then extract that money out and order a pizza. I mean,
pretty nuts.
I mean, I do mess around with like really cool games that look good on big screens, like EVE Online. You know, you're flying out in space and all this type of stuff and shooting people, and you have these complicated spaceships that take forever to build, and then someone kills you, and you're and that's it. But they have one of the big things in that game is mining. In order to get resources, you have to start as a mining ship and go mine stuff. Well, one of the ways, and literally mine planets, and that builds your wealth bucket. Imagine extracting that from the game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then all of a sudden, you know, the pizza guy has all this wealth, and then they create a market in trading that outside the game, and then people buy it to bring it back into the game. It could almost be like the euro dollar market over, you know, trading of US dollars outside of the US. It could become very big.
The possibilities, man, are endless. I think with the future of gaming, it's gonna be wild to watch. It really is. And you know, I'm not much of a gamer myself. I used to be a little bit back in the day, but like I understand how big it is still. Like, and that's what I tell, you know, my viewers out there. It's like, you know, because I'll get people in the comments, you're not even a gamer. How do you understand? Well, I still get it. Like I could still look at numbers and I could still see how big and how, you know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry and the future of mobile gaming. And that's really where it seems to be heading now. And it's just, I mean, it's going to be
There's another reason to stare at your phone than mobile gaming.
Right. For sure.
How'd you crash your car? Oh, well, I went to shoot this guy, and then I crashed my car. Oh shoot. What?
I was getting ready to set my all-time score or whatever. I had to, couldn't pay attention to the road.
Anyway, let's we only got a little bit left in the show here, but I wanted to make sure that we learned about either new things or cool things you're working with. Tell us about this trading algorithm that you and Austin set up, and how that works, and you know how people can use it.
Yeah, I can.
If you want to share your screen, I can pop that up here.
Yeah, here. Let me. I'll give you just a basic here. There we go. So what we had built, and so I mentioned this when Pedro was here.
Damn it, wrong one.
Yeah, I mentioned this when Pedro was here too. It's like what we had built was something super simple, and unlike what Pedro had going on, and we need that, by the way. But I wanted to make it where just the novice can get in here and kind of have some type of tool at their disposal. So we went out. This was earlier this year. We went out hunting for people who build these indicators, and this thing could be used for crypto, stocks, forex, commodities, whatever you need. And we went through a couple different people, and we found a guy that's been doing it for 20 plus years. He's worked for some of the big companies out there that are still running. The Lux Algos of the world. I don't know if you've heard that company, but they're probably the biggest one out there. And we said, hey man, we want to do something, but we want to keep it simple. We want it to be kind of aimed at beginners, not so much the advanced trader. So what we did was we had two different indicators. Or modes on here. So we have the momentum mode, which you see on screen now, then the retracement mode. So we can actually put both modes on too. And then you can mess with the sensitivity here and things like that. But for this purpose, I'm just really going to simplify it. I actually like just going on the momentum mode, for instance. And this is the 1-day Bitcoin chart. I'm more of a swing trader over weeks and months. So going back to the beginning of this year, and this momentum up or momentum down indicator will flash at the daily close of that candle. And then if it's an hourly candle, the close of that hour, close of that minute, you can look at this short-term, long-term, doesn't matter. But 3 different times that we've got the momentum up indicator this year in 2023, 1, 2, and 3. 3 different times you had the opportunity to make some short-term gains, right? And
yeah,
what really got me interested in all of this was I'm a long-term investor for sure. I've been buying Bitcoin passively and Ethereum passively going back till 2022. And I've got a lot of investments where they're 5 to 10 year long investments. I'm willing to wait that long. But what about in the meantime? What about in the intermediary, right? Like there's a 34% move from January to March, right? You can still win some trades in the market and still have your long-term goals with Bitcoin or whatever asset it is. This thing has done really well with Apple stock this year too, because Apple's done really good year over year. And so yeah, there's Apple from the beginning of the year, really nice returns there. And we had that early momentum up indicator back here in January, right? And we just got momentum down in July. So there was a really nice move on Apple there. So that's what we really wanted to build, man. Just something simple. And we tested it for about 3-4 months, Austin and I, and we looked at all different kind of charts. We're like, okay, this thing seems to be working. It's running well. And so then we brought it to market about 2 weeks ago now, and people really seem to like it so far. And yeah, man, it's just a tool. If we could build something that people can use and help them make better trades, let's do it.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. Now, things like this have been around for a long time. When I was in the commodities markets in the early 90s, we had this thing called an Aspen system that sent all these indicators up and down and that. But it was, we'll say it took a workstation and was very difficult to make work. How easy it is to use their services here and set up your own algorithm, your own indicators.
You mean within TradingView?
No, I mean within your sponsor. What's it called?
XT.
Yeah, XT.
Yeah, so XT is already built. So I mean, so this is you could purchase this xtalgo.com. It is 30-day money back guarantee. If you don't like it, full refund after 30 days. I got a discount code running right now. Instead of $47 a month, it's $37. The industry is running at $57 or $67 a month for these type of indicators. We're coming in much cheaper. Again, not as sophisticated as some of those. We're meant to keep it simple, but you could have one of these built by yourself. You're going to pay a pretty penny if you want it to be good. I mean,
I see. I thought you were explaining that the indicators you were using, you used XT to build.
No. XT is just my name, the name for the indicator I built. Yeah, sorry about that.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. So
see, I'm learning. As I say, I'm learning.
So we started. I started this company, and it's from an influencer standpoint, man. It's funny because we're always getting hit up all the time for affiliate type of deals, right? And I was always kind of hunting like what can I create what can I create that just adds value that's mine, and that I can give to people and help people that way.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm a complete idiot here. XT Algo is your company.
It's mine. Yeah.
Now it makes sense. Now I got it. Now the whole thing.
Yeah. So that was the whole thinking, right? Because I can go out and get like an affiliate code for another company, but it's like I want to create it how I want to create it. I want to do it how I want to do it. So yeah.
Genius.
Sorry, man.
Genius.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So
now that makes total sense to me, and you saw my disconnect of what was going on. I got it now.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask that question then. How's it going for XT for you?
It's going good, man. We've been live for 2 weeks. We've got about 180 customers already, and getting a lot of great feedback from people already. I've hired a customer support person who's there 24 hours, pretty much all the time. We'll get back to you within 24 hours. They need to sleep a little bit, but yeah, somebody's always there to help you out. And I mean, like I said, if you don't like it after 30 days, we have the full refund process. But so far, man, I'm getting some great feedback. I had somebody contact me who's a big time trader, way bigger than I am, and they've been trading it on the SPY. And they're a day trader, and they've been using it in the minute time frame here, and they've been doing pretty well with it. So that was great coming from somebody who's way more technical than I am, way more savvy, and they're even using this to their advantage. So it's been good so far, man, and I'm pumped to have it getting ready, for the next big bull cycle, and hopefully this thing continues to help a ton of people make better trades.
Well, congratulations, Zach. That's a big feather in your cap to take an idea like that, and then run with it and start your own company to do it. It's the essence of being an entrepreneur. It's like,
man.
Hey, wait a minute. What the heck is going on here? Why am I paying that guy when I can do this? I can pay myself.
It's funny how. Sorry, I just took that off there.
That's all right.
It's funny because it's exactly how that happened, man. It was somebody came to Austin and I. Austin's my buddy. He has his he has x1algo.com. They are the same indicator. We just own our separate companies. And so mine is better though. If you're looking to buy one, mine is still better. XT is better than X1. But
next week when Austin's on my show, it'd be like, mine is better.
Right, exactly. Goodbye, not his. But it was funny how it all played out, dude. He's somebody reached out to us. They had built an indicator, and they were like, "Hey, we'll give you 40% affiliate commission on this." And I was like, "Okay, that's interesting." And we thought about it for a week or two, and me and Austin he's like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "We could just do our own." He's like, "We could just go." So that's how we got started. And we started looking for somebody who was really good. We went through, I don't know how many different people on Upwork, 4, 5, 6 different people. And we finally found our guy. And it was interesting. Once we found him, he was really, really well respected in the industry because we started asking about him and all this stuff. He actually wanted a piece of our company. He wanted to own a piece of our company. Right. And I said, why do you want to own a piece of the company? He said, well, I got a feeling it's going to do really well. He said, you guys have your own traffic. He said, and I know how to do this. And we were like, you know what? Thank you for that. But we're going to, and we pay him, X amount per month to upkeep all the back end stuff and, keep everything tight. So, but no, that's how it started, man. So yeah, it's exciting because you're right. I've always wanted to become a full on entrepreneur. Like YouTube was kind of the door that opened that up. And now it's like, okay, what else can I do? And what else can I create here? And a lot of it was Austin too. We kind of just collaborated on it. We're like, yeah, let's do this, So yeah, it's been cool, man.
Well, good for you. And as I say, thanks for coming on my show. We're reaching the end of the show here. Any other topics you want to hit on here before we roll for the day?
I want to ask you, what are you thinking right now with the markets? What are your big takeaways right now? Anything changed since you were on my show last week?
No, as I've been telling people, I've been still pretty bearish in the markets for good reasons. One, generally, my trading skills are bearish in nature. If I can invest in something, it's going down for sure.
Yeah.
So, I like to say, I put my time and my effort behind things that I want to succeed, so I can help them. I've been trying, as we all do. We're like, oh, that looks like something good. That looks like something good. And ultimately, they all go to zero or something like that. And I thought, wait a minute, I need to find good projects and put things in. So as I've mentioned before, I'm actually involved with this group called Swiss Asset DAO. And it's a new DAO, and I'm a co-founder of it. And it's based in Switzerland. It's completely legal in every aspect you can think of, from its legal operations to taxes to everything. And it doesn't mean it's limited to Switzerland. They're just based there, but they can invest in anything. And what they do isn't just take people's money, like go to other DAOs and say, we'll invest some of your stuff in Switzerland. What they actually do is help other organizations be legal that are semi-legal now. Like as I said before, in Canada, when I went to the show at the Futurist Conference and talked to the companies that were a DAO, they all said, I said, yo, you're in Canada. It's not really legal here. They're like, oh, we're based in Panama, and so and it turns out in Panama they're not even really legal. It's just a gray area there. But they could take their structure and plug it into other people's DAOs, and they can be legal instantly. And I thought bringing transparency and honesty to things is really good. And so I'm spending my time doing that. And I go through all this not just to pump a project. There's no token or anything like that, so it's not like I'm pumping a project. But it's setting the groundwork for the DAO industry in general to be ready for that bull market that we hope is coming. It's sooner rather than later.
Right.
We hope it's coming with the halving, whatever you want to say, a couple of months after that happens next year.
Yep.
But it's setting the groundwork for that, so all these companies can be legal, get out of this whole narrative right now that is the regulatory abyss, the doom and gloom, like the kid on Charlie Brown that always has the cloud following his head.
Right.
That's the crypto industry, because no matter how hard we try, and even winning little court cases here and there, it just grinds on you every day when the news is just lined up against you, because that's the government's narrative. But that's going to end. That's going to end, and to be ready for that to come out, certain people are getting ready for it in ways that are like, I'm investing in these things that I know are going to boom, which I've done a little bit of. But what I'm trying to do is invest in things that I know can help the industry in general, because hopefully when the bull market comes and those groups are involved in many different things, there'll be, as they say, significant gains. And I hope that's what it is. So my general answer to your question is, I'm bearish on the market right now. I'm not looking at any particular products. I think we spoke before about DAI and the makers token there, and I even though they're, like many things, down a lot over the past year, the money they're investing in real world assets is going, especially in real estate, it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
Well, unless we have a real estate crash, but investing in it when the interest rates are high, if the interest rates come back down, it's going to be a boon for that. So I guess that's the long way of answering a somewhat simple question, I guess.
Yeah, you made me think of something. Maybe next time we'll have to schedule a time to then go back on my channel if you want to keep going, back and forth, and then maybe we'll talk about what we're bullish on long term or something. Maybe that'll be a good
absolutely
good topic.
The bullish long term things I think people like to hear, because it's a learning experience.
Yeah,
and I like to go back a couple of months later and listen to when I say, I'm bullish on this, and just go, oh
shit.
Whew.
Right. No, I'd
Look
be
at your
interested
wallet,
in that,
just
man.
moths fly out. Yeah, I'm interested in doing that too.
Cool.
I'm interested in doing that too. We're able to put a good discussion here together about these types of things, and hopefully the viewers on your channel will enjoy it, and hopefully it'll cause more viewers to come to my channel.
Definitely, man. Yeah, 100%. And like as always, man, appreciate you having me on, and then we'll schedule the next one on my channel, and we'll market it a little bit and go from there.
Absolutely. As they say, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. I want to thank everybody for coming today and watching us. We were on YouTube with a small crowd. We actually had a pretty good crowd on LinkedIn here. And who knows what the results were on Twitter. You just never know about what that's going to be. It can either be 1 or 20,000, and you never know if they watch for more than 1 second or not. But anyway, once again, thanks everybody for watching DYOR live here on the DYOR Media Network. Tomorrow we got Caitlin Long on here, ladies and gentlemen, in a big interview. She's going to talk about what she's learned since her rejection from being a member of the Fed. I've learned a lot just researching for this interview, so this is going to be a good talk. And she's also going to talk about her bank Custodia and the new products coming out, the products she has, and the new products coming out that are geared towards the crypto markets. Things that the Biden administration doesn't want to hear, but they're going to hear it. And they're going to hear it here on DYOR Live. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.